I'm Jesse.
I'm Rachel.
I'm Sophia.
I'm Sarkis, and we are
The Global Fashion Investigators. And we are trying to figure out differences between different parts of the world and their fashion styles.
What is the first thing you think about when I say fashion? And how do you define it?
When I think of fashion, I think of how I want people to see me before they know me.
So fashion is all about how you present yourself and what you're wearing, whether it comes down to your clothes or your jewelry.
I think of how people present themselves to the outside world, how you want people to perceive you is the way you're going to dress and the way that you, like the way you style yourself and the way that your personal fashion is.
So when I think about fashion, I think about like beautiful ladies and what they wear.
So fashion for me is kind of what is trendy, kind of what looks good on people and what kind of everyone enjoys in clothing.
When I think of fashion, I think of how to be unique and set myself apart from others.
So I think fashion is one of those things which is something that makes you distinctive. It's a way for you to be able to stand apart. And every morning, when you put something on, that's the image that you're displaying to the world. And it's one of the ways to do that where you don't really have to say something to somebody to be able to show who you are or really what you even believe in. I mean,
where do you get your sense of style?
So I basically just wear, what's cool and what's hip with the youngsters these days. Gotta look nice,
I get my sense of style just from kind of whatever I own that day. Like, I'm not someone who's like really like a fashion forward person. I just more am concerned like if I'm comfortable, if I'm like I don't want to look bad, but I'm also not looking to be like someone who's like, oh my god, who is she? Like, she's dressed in like the most expensive clothes. Like, I just get dressed to like for my day.
I get my sense of style from my favorite celebrities, which are Formula One drivers.
I get my sense of style from looking at the people that I look up to and trying to emulate them. If they're people in the work world or in the profession that I want to be part of, that's someone who I'm looking at, whether they're people I know in person or through social media, people I see on TV, or even just my peers. Those are the folks I'm looking at, and I'm thinking, wow, these guys are really doing a phenomenal job being able to express who they are through what they wear. And that's really what I want to do.
I get my sense of style like from soccer players like Cristiano Ronaldo and James Rodriguez, Colombian players.
I think I get my sense of style kind of through anyone that I find, whether it be a magazine or online, that I like how they look and I like how they dress, and I kind of just base my outfits from their outfits.
Where did you get your information about style?
I really take my information from style from the people who are around me. I'm not someone who really looks at like fashion magazines. Like, I will if it's around me, but I'm not like a subscriber to them. I'll look at fashion trends on like Snapchat and social media, but I mostly like find my fashion from people who are around me. And
So I did my research online a little bit, some in magazines, but then I really looked at what not to wear by seeing what my brother wears, and then now I know what to wear because I don't wear what he wears.
Well, so most of the information that I get about fashion is usually either from friends who are going to see what I'm wearing and tell me, hey, that's so last year, or that something else is in fashion these days. That's an easy way, but a lot of it is also what you just get online. So that's either social media or looking at magazines like GQ. Just being able to explore what people in the industry that you want to be a part of, or what people necessarily are doing that you want to do. What are they wearing? That's the kind of question I ask myself, and then I try to put on what they're wearing.
About fashion, like from social media, sometimes I look at it like on internet.
Usually I get my information from Instagram, sometimes Twitter, but mostly Instagram, following people that are good in fashion.
So, how do fashion designers influence your sense of style?
I don't go out of my way to buy designer clothing. However, if I were to buy designer clothing, it would have to be at a lower price. For me personally, I feel like I have more designer accessories like Ray-Bans, just because I like good quality type of sunglasses?
I think the thing with fashion designers is that it's really hard to be able to get to know them, because when you look at a magazine and you're staring at it and you look at a picture, it's a picture of somebody wearing something, but I'm not necessarily going to know who designed it. So that's the problem, I think, with fashion designers, where they do behind the scenes kind of stuff. They're not necessarily on the front page of the magazine. It's usually some model or someone else who's wearing their clothes. I think that's probably the reason why most of us don't even know who they are.
Fashion designers don't usually have influence on my style. I kind of just see things that I like and kind of put that into my own way. But in terms of actual fashion designers, I don't really follow what they usually put out.
I could not give two less craps about fashion designers. No.
We're here to ask you, what is the difference between fashion in the United States and your respective country?
So the main difference, I think, is that fashion in Albania comes from Italy, which is like slim things, slim t-shirts, slim jeans. But here is more like France, So it's a tough time trying to adopt to it.
American fashion and like Portuguese fashion is very similar because they kind of look to the same like fashion forward like magazines and social media, but in different ways. They're more a little bit more conservative. Like you won't see people going out in like sweatpants or like pajama pants. Sometimes here you'll see people going out in that, but they'll also put more stress on if something's like fashion forward. They're not afraid of being like a little bit more risque. Like I remember when I was visiting one time, I went out shopping to a mall and a lot of things were just completely see-through and people didn't really care that you could see like their bra or like their undergarments. But here like people would usually wear like something on top of it. So in that way, like they're more stressing upon fashion and being more fashion forward, versus here it's more, I feel like it's a little bit more comfortable.
So back in my country, we wear a lot of clothes that a lot different than America. Americans wear a lot of baggy kind of sweatpants clothes, but back in my country, we're a lot more formal. We look a lot nicer. Wear a lot more button downs and darker clothing. We seem to have a better sense of style than Americans.
The sense of style in fashion is different in the US because people could go out of their house wearing sweats to go to the grocery store, let's say. However, in Lebanon, it's not the norm to do that, and people go out looking very nice, such as having like a full face of makeup or having nice hair, dressing properly.
In Greece, modern day Greece, it's kind of, the fashion is pretty much just European style. Europe kind of has its own fashion sense, and that's kind of what Greece goes along with. In terms of traditional clothing, they usually have a lot of bright colors, a lot of white colors. It is very Mediterranean, so you will see kind of brighter colors, reds, yellows, whites, and a lot of the clothing that would be worn traditionally has to have practical uses. So you'd see shoes that are similar to cleats, just because a lot of people would be in the mountains. Things like kilts, just for getting on horses easier, and things like that for traditional clothing.
Well, so I'm originally from Pakistan, and one of the things I notice is that fashion's really different. There's an observation I've made when I've been there, which is that usually, if you're a woman in Pakistan and you're riding around, whether that's on public transit, walking on the sidewalk, in a rickshaw, or on a motorbike, you're usually going to have your head covered and wear a hijab. And that has a lot to do with, I assume, their religious values, but also just how conservative cultures differ. When you look at women in Pakistan who are, driving around in private cars, what's different about them is that they're not necessarily going to have their head covered. And that may be because of a difference in cultural or religious values, but also maybe in socioeconomic stature. Saying that the fact that someone owns a car means that they're generally going to have a higher income than someone who, has to take public transit. That's one of the things that's different, and it's one of the examples about how it's different. when I moved to America, one of the things that is really unique about this is that really people are going to wear what they're going to wear to express who they are rather than where they come from.
So generally the people we interviewed defined fashion as what sets them apart from others and what makes them unique and how they can express themselves. They also usually said that fashion was something that was good style, that were outfits that made them look nice rather than speaking about bad style.
Ring ring, globalization calling. Did you know that regardless of people's backgrounds, they all tend to get their sense of style from the same place, whether it comes to people they look up to, such as their friends, celebrities, or their religion, or any other influences on the internet.
Our findings indicate that people from all different backgrounds find their information from the same places, such as magazines, their peers, and social media.
Generally, as we interview people from different backgrounds, we found that the globalization of fashion designers doesn't have too much of an influence on their sense of style or on their fashion. If those particular people choose to shop for a particular fashion designer, they'll buy a watch, sunglasses, or anything like that. But we found that generally the local style has more of an impact on what they wear and on their fashion than globalized and more fashion designers would.
We discovered that when it comes to fashion senses in different parts of the world, it varies wherever you go. When it comes to Middle Eastern countries, they're more conservative and formal, but Western countries are more risque and relaxed. Now, we are global fashion investigators. Thanks for watching.
Woo!